Hi guys, let's do another Passover read aloud. So this one is a Pickles Passover. And last week I read the matzo ball boy, how he ran away, similar to the gingerbread man. So this one's a Pickles Passover by Richie Shevat and illustrated by Idea and Design Works LLC, because this used to be a TV show called The Rugrats. So, come, Kinder, Grandpa Boris called. It's time for the Seder. Psst, Tommy Kimmy said. What's a Seder? At Passover, before you eat, the grown-up people ask questions, Tommy answered. What if I don't know the answers? Chucky asked nervously. Then the monster comes and squashes you flat, Angelica said with a sneer. I don't want to be squashed, said Chucky. So you can see maybe you noticed there was some like baby talk happening, and they're little kids. Welcome to our Seder, everyone, said Grandpa Boris as they sat down on the table. The Seder tells the story of Passover when Moses led the Hebrews out of slavery from Egypt. Everything at the Passover table helps tell part of the story. Now, this morning, a lot of you told me that you did Seders at home. Some of you even did like virtual Seders with family members all over the country and different places. So let's see if you had some of these things also on your table. This is the matzah, Grandpa Boris explained. When the Hebrews fled Egypt, they were in a hurry, so they didn't have time to let their bread rise. That's why the matzah is flat. See, Chucky? Tommy whispered. Angelica was wrong. The bread is squashed flat, not us. If they were in a rush, why didn't they go through a drive-through matzah stand? Asked Chucky. Do you think they had drive-thrus back then like we have today? Drive-thru, you can get some food or coffee. No drive-thru matzah stands. Tommy's mom, Dee Dee, held up the Passover plate that sat in the center of the table. When the Hebrews were slaves, they had to build things for the Egyptians. This is horoses. It symbolizes the mortar that held the bricks together. It is made with apples and nuts, she explained. Yuck, muttered Angelica. If they used it to stick stuff together, it must taste like glue. Who tried some haroset? I did. Mine had pears and walnuts in it, too. These are the bitter herbs, Boris explained. The bitter taste reminds us of how bad it was to be a slave. It must have been like taking yucky mestin all day long, Lil said to Phil. Pharaoh is the ruler of Egypt, Grandpa Boris said, continuing. Moses went to Pharaoh and told him to let the Hebrew slaves go free. When Pharaoh said no, terrible plagues rained down on Egypt. There were frogs, locusts, and wild beasts. Froggies everywhere? That sounds kind of fun, Lil whispered to Phil. Who thinks frogs jumping everywhere would have been kind of fun? Grandma Minka told the next part of the story. The last plague was the worst of all, she said. Every firstborn son of the Egyptians died. But the plague passed over the Hebrew homes. That's why the holiday is called Passover. And I remember my aunt was super excited to tell us that last week. The Hebrews must have used plague spray, Kimmy said to Chucky. Can you imagine plague spray? Like bug spray? Finally, Pharaoh gave in. He let the Hebrews go, but at the last minute he sent his army after them. Moses parted the Red Sea so they could escape. After they passed, the sea closed up again, and no one else could walk through, Minka said, finishing the story. You need a big comb to part a whole sea, Chucky said to Kimmy. See how they're parting the sea with a comb like you part your hair? With a brush or a comb. These kids are kind of silly. Later on, after everyone was almost finished eating, Stu called out, "Oh, I almost forgot. The Seder can't end without the Afikomen." "Did you hear that?" Chucky said to Tommy. "It can't end without the awful comb?" "Awful comb? What's the awful comb?" "At the beginning of every Seder," Stu explained, "the Afikomen is hidden, and all the children look for it at the end. Whoever finds it gets a prize." Did anybody find the Afikomen? Who found it at your house? Do you see who's finding it right here? Angelica spies it in the drawer. "What is an awful comb?" Kimmy wondered out loud. "It must be the comb Moses used to part the Red Sea," said Tommy. "My mom and dad got lots of combs. Let's go find them, the awfulest." So they didn't hear Afikomen, they heard awful comb. The babies hurried off to Stu and Dee Dee's bedroom. But look at, Angelica has the matzah. "Is this comb awful enough?" asked Lil. "It got lots of hair and stuff on it," said Phil. "No," said Tommy. "That's not big enough to part the Red Sea." "Let's look in the bathroom," said Chucky. "Maybe it's in there." So these babies don't seem to know a lot about Passover, right? You could probably teach them something. They hurried into the bathroom and threw open the door. "Ah!" yelled Chucky. "Ah, it's the awful comb!" "Ah!" screamed all the babies. "It's awful!" See what they're looking at? This silhouette of this person or something, this awful comb. "That's not the awful comb," said Tommy. "It's just a mop in my mommy's bathrobe." "That's not very awful," said Kimmy. Just then, Angelica sauntered over to the bathroom. "Keep looking, you silly babies," she said with a cackle. Ha 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 ha. She already has it though, right? We already know that she found it. "There you are," Dee Dee said when she found the babies. "Have you found the Afikomen yet?" "It's the small piece of matzah we share at the end of the Seder. It reminds us of those who aren't free, even today, and how lucky we are to be free." "Did you hear that?" Tommy whispered to Chucky. "It's not a comb at all. It's a piece of matzah." "So who found the Afikomen?" asked Stu. "Oh, you mean that special piece of matzah?" Angelica said sweetly. "I think I saw it somewhere. Is the prize one of those extra big televisions?" Angelica asked. Stu chuckled. "Not quite, Angelica." Angelica thinks she's going to get a big prize for finding the Afikomen. "Tommy, look at Dill," whispered Chucky. Tommy crawled over a chair toward Dill, and he handed Tommy the Afikomen. "Hey, Tommy found the Afikomen," Stu said. "Good work. Here's your prize," he said, handing Tommy some chocolate-covered matzah. "Hey," Angelica called out, "that's mine." "Angelica," Charlotte scolded. "Well, it wasn't a big television anyway," said Angelica, sulking. So the baby snuck it out of Angelica's hands, and then they said Tommy found it. But the prize was just some chocolate-covered matzah. "You did it, Tommy," Chucky said. "Isn't Passover great?" said Tommy as he gave Chucky a piece of the chocolate matzah. "Yeah," said Chucky. "Let's have it again tomorrow." So we know it's a whole week Passover, right? So they could definitely have it tomorrow. Okay, bye guys.